Hello, so I'm here at the Faculty of Philology of the Humboldt University with Georgia Petridou. So Georgia, can you maybe tell us a little bit about what you work on and then about this bigger project that you're involved in?
Yeah, I'm working with a large amount of people. We all work with Philip van der Eyck. So in his project, which is called, he has this beautiful title, Medicine of the Mind, Philosophy of the Body.
Medicine of the Mind, Philosophy of the Body. Okay.
Yeah, discourses of health and disease in the ancient world. And it's a huge project that encompasses very different people with very different sub-projects. And it kind of ranges from more traditional kind of, let's say, topics, like, I know we have people working on the Hippocratic corpus, on the Galenic corpus, but we also have people looking at, like, my friend Matteo is looking at alchemical texts.
Okay, so there's even alchemy in the ancient world.
Apparently, so, of course there's alchemy, and there's also a connection with alchemy and medicine.
Right, okay.
And Matteo is working on this. There are other people working on Arabic translations of Galenic works, or Syriac translations of Galenic works.
I guess that was one of the main ways in which Galen came down to us, for example, in the Renaissance period, through the Arab tradition.
Absolutely. And you know, these are all the neglected, let's say, aspects of the transmission of all these texts.
And what is it that you do?
What I'm doing is one of the weird ones.
I'm glad you said that.
Well, no, that's just a testament to Philip's sort of open-mindedness, basically.
Including everybody.
Including everybody.
Right.
So I'm working on Aelius Aristeides' Hieroi Logoi. This is more, I suppose, what has been studied so far as rhetorical texts.
Okay, and what period? Who is the person's name again?
Maybe I don't have the right sort of accent. Aelius Aristeides.
Aelius Aristeides, and he's...
So Aelius Aristeides Theodoros.
Okay, he's from where?
He was born in the northern Mysia.
Which is?
This is modern Turkey.
Okay.
2nd century, so this is the Antonine period.
Okay. 2nd century AD.
AD, of course, yes.
Yeah. So, I deal with BC texts. So.
I mean, so did I before that. And so he's more or less contemporary with Galen. I mean, everybody knows Galen, famous physician. He's the famous patient. Okay. And this is where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the underdog. I'm coming from the point of view of the patient.
Right, the outsider who's commenting on kind of what doctors get up to.
Absolutely. He's not quite the underdog. I mean, he's a very famous orator. I mean, he's... there is this lovely epigram that says two things were the two great things that Smyrna produced. One was Homer, the other one was Aristides.
Right.
So he's one of the
one of the top
best.
guys.
Yeah. And he's not an underdog. I mean, the last 10 years he's been in the spotlight, and lots of fantastic books have come out on him. We had this lovely study by Harris and Holmes, Aelius Aristeides between Greece and Rome and the gods. We have this beautiful book by Asclepieion. Beautiful, beautiful book.
So what is it that Aristides brings to the table? You said that people mainly work on Galen if they're dealing with ancient medicine or the Hippocratic corpus, but you're interested in this guy because he's the patient. So what is it in that he's writing about that interests you, and how does that fit in with Galen and this bigger project?
Yeah, well, I'm interested in the point of view of the patient, and my ambition is to do this to contribute to this process of foregrounding the patient. And this is a procedure that has to do both with the medical practice, but also with what we call medical humanities. And this is my point of view. I'm looking at Aristides, the way he conceptualizes medicine in relation to religion, and in particular mystery cults. So there is a very interesting connection between religion, medicine, and second sophistic as a whole, but very, very important elements of these connections are also manifested in Aristides' works. In this.
So can you maybe give us some examples about what he's doing there, how he's connecting medicine to religion in this way?
Yeah, I mean, the first chapter of my monograph deals with this kind of connection. It's called mysteric medicine or medicinal mysteries.
Okay.
And it's how he conceptualizes his illness as a kind of near-death experience, as a preparation for this kind of very intimate communication with Asclepios. I came to Aristides via Epiphanes. That was my main thing.
I see.
I mean, I came to him from the religion point of view.
And Asclepios is the god of medicine.
And Asclepios is one of the healing deities.
Right.
He has a very close connection to. The other one would be Serapis. But he also is very devoted to Isis, or to, he mentions the mother of the gods, like Cybele or Kubaba, what would be in Phrygia. I'm looking at these kind of things, the therapeutic experience in the sanctuary of Pergamum as an exclusive experience, the ineffability of the medicinal experience. Why would it be difficult for you to describe what's going on in an incubation? Why nobody else should know about it? Why is it in a muthiton or an areton?
Okay.
Is this to do with the areta of, let's say, the mysteric initiations, or is it just a figure of speech? And even if it is a figure of speech, why you're using this kind of mysteric terminology and mysteric imagery? Figurative speech, should also be communicative. Why is he going into this process of mystifying his medicinal experience? There are some interesting...
And is there a tension here with, obviously being part of a mystery context? The thing with the mystery, why we call it the mysteries is that people don't tend to write about it or talk about it. So, what is Aristides playing around with the difficulty of writing about the kind of experience that he's going through?
Yeah, he's playing a lot with the difficulty of describing, the difficulty of putting his experiences into words, and another step, communicating this. But he does it in a very kind of self-conscious way, as if there is a code out there people should understand. And he kind of feels very satisfied with himself, embedding in his text these mechanisms, forgive me, of inclusion and exclusion. There is epistemic and cognitive insiders and outsiders, salvific insiders and outsiders, people who would get it, people who wouldn't get it. If you don't get it, it's your fault.
I see.
Not his fault. And he plays with all these, of course, proper rhetorical schemata, aposiopises. All this is the ultimate truth that was disseminated by the sacred logos of his mystic rites. I can't really explain it to you. I mean, he does that more evidently with oratory. Oratory for him is also a kind of mysteric discourse he's been initiated to. And that was a more kind of evident area of manifestation. But I'm looking at medicine and religion.
So far you've been talking about the connection between medicine and religion, and particularly mystery cults. So this sounds quite psychological and to do with that one part of the project which is to do with the mind. Are there any kind of physical treatments that he's also writing about, that he's undergoing himself?
Oh yeah, I mean there are. This is the exciting thing. When he's talking about having a tumor, and the doctors tell him to cut it and cauterize the usual medical procedures. that the god, who is the ultimate doctor, tells him not to wait. And finally, it's by following the instructions of the best physician that, you know, the tumor goes away.
And the best physician in this case being God.
In Asclepios, yes.
Right, interesting.
Well, there are other interesting bits, like he's not just the patient. Occasionally he becomes the physician as well, always under the auspices of Asclepios.
Mm-hmm.
And this has to do with the other interesting part of dissemination of medical knowledge to a layman medicine, which again has to do with the patient's point of view as well.
Yeah, I was actually wondering whether his experience here, this kind of mystery element of the medical treatment he's writing about, is this common in the ancient world, or at least in this period? Are all the doctors somehow connected to Asclepios?
Well, of course they are the Asclepieidae, so you know they are the sons of Asclepios. He's the patron god of their trend, of their techni, atriki. So there is a connection.
Right.
Even Galen uses Asclepios many times, and you know he appears to have like an intimate relationship. But you know there are all these. In Galen, at least, Asclepios is embedded within his own sort of agenda. So there's always a connection between the patron god of medicine and the practitioners. But it's a whole different world in this kind of Asclepieion system of therapeutics that is going on in the Asclepieion of the Greco-Roman world.
And are there particular sites that you go to if you're ill? Do you have to go to a particular site to get well? Is that how it works?
Yes, that's pretty much how it works.
Okay, so it's like it's almost like a pilgrimage. You go to a particular cult site, and that's where, if you like, you have a hospital, as it were. But it's very much connected to ritual and religious practice.
That's right. And this lovely book by Alexei Petridou has a very good depiction of the Asclepieion of Pergamum, for instance,
right.
And a fantastic discussion of the incubatory procedure, of which we don't know very much, but you know we do speculate.
Let's speculate then. So what happens in this this period of incubation that you have to go through? Just if you can give us the layman's version.
Well, it would probably be different from, you know, sacred place to sacred place, and from one period to the other period. So I am going into a very sort of abstract, very schematic description. You know, what we can assume with some safety, some certainty, would be like there is a purification procedure. You abstain from something. Certain kinds of food, perhaps. Okay. There is maybe bathing to clarify, both as a symbolic purification, but also it's a symbolic cleansing kind of procedure, but also, you know, to prepare your body for the process of enchemesis or cataclysis.
Yeah, I think the cold side of Pergamum, water is everywhere. It seems to be so much part of the actual site itself.
I mean, this is the thing. It's not just the hospital there. This beautiful landscape of Pergamum just involved a whole different kind of life, cultural life.
Right.
Like there's a theater. There's people who deliver speeches. You know, probably they have choral performances, but you know. So
we shouldn't be actually distinguishing, you think, the kind of the medical side from the rest of this kind of cultural experience then?
Well, for these elite patients, I think we shouldn't. I think these are the kind of people like Aristides who have, you know, they're not. They're rich enough to spend 2 years there without having to worry about.
And it costs money.
Of course.
So you make some kind of donation to the god, and then that then gets.
Well, the specifics they're probably more outlined in terms of sacrifices and
right.
Of course, I don't know, donations in terms of like a golden wreath to Asclepios or something like that, or to the other deities, to Lesbos, Aegea. But you know, there are other things that are in play. The cultural activity, the microcosm, which would probably be a reflection of the wider community of the Antonine elite at the time. Aristides lives there, and these couple of years he spends there consequently, because he, as other places of pilgrimage as well, equally important. I think it's not just my idea. A lot of people who have said this have affected the way he conceptualizes medicine and oratory.
Right. And actually that leads back into nicely another question I wanted to ask, which was, who's he writing for, Aristides? I mean, is he trying to influence the medical practice? Is he writing himself into this kind of medical tradition that's dominated by doctors, or does he conceive of a very different audience?
Yeah, well, there's a big question. There are some views. There would be some scholars saying, well, he writes this specific. I mean, for the Hieroi Logoi is a little bit more complicated, but his others.
So the Hieroi Logoi is like the sacred text. Is that how you would translate it?
Yes, I'm always going for the transliteration, because if I say sacred tales, like Burr's translation, the fantastic book.
Yeah.
I don't know. People think, are they just tales? Are they just fake stories?
Right. But it's like
maybe sacred discourses, I don't know, maybe sacred account. Hieros Logos. Yeah. Then again, this Hieros Logos always brings to mind the Hieroi Logoi of the Mysteria as well.
Right, that's interesting. So he's playing on that connection.
He's playing on that connection as well, I think.
The audience?
The audience, that's right. I forgot about the audience. The audience, I'm not absolutely sure, because they're very learned speculations about, are these, let's say, journals he wrote? They are in a very bizarre way sort of constructed. Now, from an ornithological point of view, most of the time he only brings the connection with the next episode in a way we do, like via free association. Oh, that brings into mind that other episode 3 years ago when I was traveling there. So scholars have said, why such an eloquent orator, such a master of all the rhetorical tropoi, why has he fallen into this madness of this free association kind of thing? And some people have talked about utter confusion, what is going on there, and some other more systematic sort of brilliant scholars have tried to date every single one episode. Some people have disputed the dates of every single episode. Is he trying to write an autobiography? Is he a very self-conscious representation that is not an autobiography quite, but is a self-portrait, as Petridou Diomede says? I like this kind of idea. It's a very self-conscious portrait of a patient, as a very learned patient, as a patient who knows enough to judge the best physician, and perhaps even to impart medical knowledge on other patients as well. It's a tricky one.
As all the best questions are.
Yes, absolutely.
And just the final question is, how do you see this kind of fitting in with what other people are working on, just briefly?
Well, there are so many brilliant scholars out there. I'm really looking forward to the book by Janet Dani. I think I'm really looking forward to reading her work. There's already a book out that came out, I think, in July by Hieroi Logoi. And again, medicine and religion are discussed there thoroughly. The William Harris book, Holmes' book, was also a fantastic contribution on the topic.
But the project here, how does it fit
Oh,
in
the project here. I think the project here is wide enough to include also, let's say, this wider area that can be called medicine from below. And I think I'm kind of doing ancient medicine from below by looking at this Aristides as a sufferer. And I know there has been some questioning about whether he's honestly suffering, whether he's just a tool for his self-representation as a sufferer. Very good.
But nevertheless, it's giving a different perspective.
But nonetheless, it's all these questions about how you qualify pain,
yeah,
how you qualify illness, body very objective, pain very subjective. How can you say this person was not suffering, he was just suffering as a rhetorical trope? Can you do that? I don't know.
And that seems to maybe connect quite nicely to the idea of this stream of consciousness as well, that you get a different way of organising material when you're not the doctor, when you're actually the person who is the subject, who's experiencing the pain. Maybe, the way that you conceive of that material is going to look rather different.
Or it's another very self-conscious way of presenting yourself as suffering.
Well, exactly.
And therefore you can't quite do it. Or there is fascinating passage where he says, he presents kind of Asclepios, not just the doctor, but as a fellow co-editor. He says, whatever you want me to write, please bring it into my mind, and I will do it. And please cast away whatever you think it's not appropriate. That's what we need. A divine editor.
Yeah, well, I think we could all do with the divine
Absolutely.
editor. So many thanks, Georgia, for giving us a brief insight into the mysteries of Aristides and Asclepios as an editor that we could probably all do with now and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.